Alright. Good morning, people. Today, I'm going to be talking about an interesting subject in which is becoming an epidemic within gamers that really don't give a shit about what they do. I'm talking about Gamism and Consoltry. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, yeah, that's so much better. Now, what I'm talking about gamism and Consoltry is basically it's like, well, it's kind of like racism in video games. And what I mean by that is basically, I can understand the hatred towards some companies, some gaming companies that somehow think more about money than what the fans want. I can somewhat agree to that aspect, but I also wonder, yeah, I somewhat think about, you know, the gamers out there who actually buy new games, whether it's a popular game or not. And stuff like this, you wonder about, PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and the Wii. And the question is, does the console really matter? I mean, does it make you any less a person if you have a certain console? I mean, it's kind of like the in crowd. Like, you're not cool if you don't have this, or you're nobody if you don't have this. Let's see. I know very few people that actually have an Xbox, and those are the ones I keep in contact with on YouTube and or Skype, and they're pretty down to earth people. I mean, we chat in the stream sometime, and we have fun. And I mean, we're not pros. All of us are not pros, and we don't claim to be pros. But the point I'm making here is, why so much hate towards those who actually have an Xbox 360 or PS3, or maybe even a Wii, or maybe a PSP or a Vita or a PlayStation 2 or whatever? I mean, really, last time I remember video games were all about having fun. They weren't made they weren't made to create wars. They're actually there to actually take us away from our everyday humdrum existence. After a long day of work, excuse me, we want to just come in, play a quick game of whatever, and not worry about outside. I mean, I play 3 video games on here as Let's Plays. And as I'm doing every part and I'm going through everything, I check everything that I have on me, all my equipment and everything, just to make sure it's running smoothly. And if it doesn't run smoothly, I know something's wrong. But I mean, really, I don't think I mentioned this, but take for example Skyward Sword. It's a fairly new Zelda game. Yet some people who I don't know, they have a chip on their shoulder about Zelda. They want to always compare this Zelda with past Zelda games. Okay, granted, I was never knee deep in a series like Zelda because to me, I always felt as long as I beat the game, to me that to me is an accomplishment in itself. When I started playing Skyward Sword, I just noticed how it was, and I played for a couple hours. I played for 2 hours, maybe three, and all I was doing was figuring stuff out. That's all I was doing. Now the question is, I have never touched a Zelda game since Minish Cap and Link to the Past. Zelda games always seem to confuse the living mess out of me. But seeing as though I was playing this Zelda game, I didn't feel like it was there to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to confuse you." Thank you. Another thing I never did understand was, for some reason, why do some people become so obsessed with achievements? I mean, when I was playing the Xbox over at my girlfriend's place, she didn't mind me playing it because she really wanted me to try it out. Because I was considering getting one for myself because they had some good titles on it. However, I mean, I kind of saw, I mean, I saw, there were so many games that I could play, and I did beat one game per se, and that was Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. There have been a couple games that I did play while I was down there, but the point of the matter was I was enjoying myself. I had sat there and I was, playing a game. I wasn't concerned about achievements or whatever. I tend to think this is good. This is what I want to do. So after a long day of work, what I want to do is, before I do anything else, I want to just sit, play play a simple game for a while, for a couple hours. You know, because after a long day, you just want to just cool it. And one of the things I like to do before the day is up is I like to sit in front of the computer, listen to some music, or play a puzzle game for quite some time, let my mind just air itself out for a while, and just, relax. But as I was saying, I mean, why is it that certain certain people who have nothing to do but just to bad talk a new game that hasn't really gone on, that hasn't really touched the surface, but it's been like it's just been out for a couple of days. I mean, sure, there have been new games like King of Fighters 13 and Skyrim, and of course Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword, and probably many more that I can count. And yet, you have these so-called fanboys who want to display their might of ignorance by saying, "Oh, you're a noob. Oh, you don't know how to control Link. Oh, you don't know how to do this in this game." I have to say this. As far as how you play the game, I can care less. I mean, really, it's not about how you play the game. It's all about discovering how it works, how you play it, how you do this to it. Many people just don't understand. I mean, it happens in the LP community that when a certain game comes out, or a certain game that we do, it may become a fan favorite to some, and yet to others, they want to pick. They want to pick at you just because you don't know what you're doing. And I'm sorry, but as an LPer, every so often I like to drop little hints to those who are doing a certain game that others may have done before. Like take for instance Blaster Master. Now, the game has been done many, many times, and of course, unless if you don't know what you're doing, it will be difficult because the game requires a lot of backtracking. And I do mean it requires a lot of backtracking. It's understandable. Now, the question is, do I actually go on somebody else's channel and say, "Hey, you suck"? No, that would be saying that I have no dignity, no integrity as an LPer, much less a person, to say that their skills are inferior because of age and or and or lack of skill, if there is such a thing as lack of skill. To me, I don't see that. I mean, it happens. We all have a certain games. Sometimes our skills dull over time. It happens. It's a normal thing. I hear sometimes, how long that this person has played this game, and I start to think, yeah, they might remember this game, but I said maybe I don't. But I tend to remember a couple of things that most people don't remember. Like the game I'm doing, nobody actually remembers that it came from a a Nintendo game. And the game I'm talking about is Super Ninja Boy, aka Super Chinese World. So I mean, I don't go on somebody's channel and just downright disrespect them. However, I do mean however, that doesn't give anybody else the right to disrespect them. I mean, I've seen plenty of games being played, and on that note, you know, I've seen many reviews that may seem incomplete, or just they might be talking out their ass because it doesn't reach their expectations. That's the thing. Since when did video games have to reach our expectations? It's like, oh, they have to be this or it's not gonna work. I mean, really. To me, it's all about this. I could play this game for like hours on end. It wouldn't bore the living hell out of me. And by all means, it's a PC game. I mean, I don't care who made it. I know PopCap made it. But does that mean I'm gonna be turning my back on, you know, this because this happened and that happened? Of course not. Because it doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense for so much idiocy to be happening in the universe of video games. I mean, to me, I could be playing Skyward Sword. Like I said, I could be, but I'm not. Instead, I'm talking about something that kind of makes sense to those who understand. I mean, stop hating. You're gonna hate on a person just because they have a certain console. Really? You're a sad sack of shit if you think a console would change a person. It doesn't matter what kind of console you have or how many consoles you may have. The console does not make the person. I mean, that's their preference. I mean, I don't mind if I have a Wii and a PS2 and a 360. I mean, that's my preference. I like that. I can't say, well, the PS3 sucks because of this. Because some people, they like the PS3. And I say to each their own. I mean, hey, it's fine with me. You like it? Hey, I ain't mad at you. I mean, to me, this is what matters. You like what you play. Awesome. I mean, really, when you honestly think about it, if you don't really get a game just because you like it, then you just wasted your time and money just because it doesn't have, it doesn't fit your repertoire or whatever. I mean, to me, it's silly. I mean, I may not like certain games. It's not because it's underneath me or anything like that. It's just not my thing. I mean, it's like this. I don't like survival horror, but doesn't mean I wouldn't try to play a survival horror. I'd play it under a different guise or whatever. Like if it was a rail shooter, if it was something based off an arcade, sure, I'd play it. But that doesn't mean, oh, well, you aren't a gamer if you do this, and you aren't a gamer if you do that. That's my thing. That's my thing right there. So no person should be treated like that just because you have a certain console. And that takes away from who you are just because of this one console. It's why I call it Consoltry. It's like a it's bigotry under the pretense of a game console. And the sad thing is, only those with small minds would do this. They would want to put something in front of it and say, "Oh well, you see, you're no good because you have a Wii or you have a PS2. PS2s are so lame." Only fanboys would say this. And I and I don't mean I mean there are fans and then there are fanboys. Real fans or the actual fans would actually appreciate whatever the company has made for the series, and for some reason they say, "Oh well, for the fans, we're doing this." Like take for instance Mega Man. It's such a well-known series and well received by the fans that if a new version of the game came out, many people would be flocking to it. Oh, and did I not forget about the Sonic fan base? It's kind of like this. If it's not a proper Sonic game, it gets hated on. Well, let's see. Generations came out, and the last thing I remember I saw was Crush 40 doing Sonic Boom. It was a video, and I heard Sonic Boom being done by Crush 40. And Crush 40, I think, and Cash Cash. But still, the thing was, they bitched about it. I said, what is this? For the most part, many people bitched about this sort of thing. And I just didn't see the point. Why would you bitch about Sonic the Hedgehog? So, oh wait, if it's not befitting of you, then it should not be befitting of the fans. Okay, so this leads me to ask the proverbial question: who died and made you fan club president? I mean, really. I look at I look at that, and it's why for some reason I do not want to be part of a fan base. If I start liking a certain game, I don't want to be part of the fan base. I want to sit and enjoy playing a game under my time and my energy. But mainly under my time, like I play 2 hours of this game, or I play 3 hours of this game, and I might put in this much for this game and that much for that game. It's like, okay, so I was supposed to be doing Dragon Ball Kai, and the weekend. I said, well, I figured, hey, I could do it on the weekend, or if I should beat a certain game first, whichever one I come up to beating, that's what I'll move it in with. Like, okay, I'll just do Dragon Ball in that case, and same thing with the other game I'm doing, which is Phantasy Star 4, picking it up again. But see, the thing is that is why, for some reason, I treasure the classics. I respect modern day gaming. Nothing wrong with it. But when it gets down to idle prejudice toward people who have a console or a certain game, then really it becomes a problem. And that's a problem I think most of us should really just come out and say, you know, there should not be no prejudice towards consoles and or video games. Video games are not made to be spawned for fanning the flames of war. I mean, to be playing a video game just out of your own leisure, that's what you need to do. I mean, I play video games out of my own leisure, and I enjoy it. But does that make me any less of a gamer if I play something on a PC in comparison to an Xbox? No. I mean, aside from everything else, I don't have the most popular games because I have a different taste for, I have a taste for certain games. I mean, maybe down the line, sure, I'll try it out and I'll give it a go. If I like it, I'll keep it. If not, I'll just turn it back in. But it goes without saying that it's time to stop the hating in video games. You know, nobody forced you to play something made by Activision, or nobody didn't force you to play something by Electronic Arts, or something from Capcom, or or Konami or Nintendo or whoever else that could be mentioned. You know, I mean, basically, you like what you play, you enjoy what you play. I mean, I tell my girlfriend this. I say it. I say it. It's all well and good if you want to do this, but make sure you take care of yourself in the process of you doing this. I said I don't mind you taking a night off when you do this, but just do me a little favor and just take good care of yourself. I said I don't ask for much. I really don't. All I want you to do is, take good care of yourself. Don't try to overdo it. I mean, because of what I have, I can't overdo like 2 hours. So for me, like 2 hours, if it's on a certain game, like this for example, this is fine. Because all I'm doing is just moving the mouse around, which you can't see, but I am moving the mouse around. In any case, games are meant games are meant to be played. Thank you. I am pretty hot shit, aren't I? But I mean, really, technically, that's just it. People should just shut the hell up. I mean, if you don't like the game, then don't buy it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with anything. If you don't like something, then by all means don't get it. Because, I mean, if all you're going to do is bitch and whine about it, then it's not meant for you. That's all there is. I mean, from the many LPers I've seen do some games that I don't even, some games that I just didn't know existed. It's the same thing. As an LPer, I play games that very obscure. That's my thing. I like playing games that are very obscure that might get people into wanting to play this game, or yeah, get them in the habit of playing this game. Trying it for yourselves. If you want to buy it, fine. Go be my guest. I'm only glad to know that, there are some people who actually seem to like these games. The game seem to like the games that I play. Even though I don't get that much even though I don't get that much feedback, still somebody's always watching. And with that, somebody is always feeling a bit, you know, happy because I'm playing this game. But yet, games like these, puzzle games will always be the epitome of Zen in the video game universe. So on that note, I'm just going to clear the stage. And I'm just going to call this file complete because really, I think I said everything I need to say about video game bigotry and prejudice towards the gamers that play them. I mean, it's an ugly habit, but I know one LPer that I usually watch mention this, and I have to say, what he says actually makes sense. So, with that being said, this level's complete. I've earned myself another badge. And with that, I'm going to call this a Tenkaichi file. And with that case being dealt with, I have to say, I'm done. So with that, the Tenkaichi has spoken his piece. And of course, I welcome all feedback from those who wish to share their thoughts about this subject matter. I mean, let me know what you think about the subject I was talking about. In games, gamers, consoles, and the rift between all that goes within it because of idiocy. Within gamer prejudice and console bigotry, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know. But anyway, I think I'm done with Bejeweled. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. And with that, I'm done for tonight. And I'll see you tonight with some Super Ninja Boy and Mario Luigi madness. So until then, take care and have a good night and a good morning and have a good rest of the day. I have spoken and I am out.